Real quick.
Can you see
We
my
are
screen?
here to welcome Chris Whitacre to talk to us about the power of influence. So, Chris, go ahead and take it away. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you've had a long day. So, come on down. Thanks, Chris.
Oh, you're welcome, Lori. Thanks for having me. And thanks, everybody, for welcoming me. And Lori, it's really a pleasure to be here. We did talk about doing this, I think, last fall, maybe. We started talking about what you wanted to do with your team, and you asked if I would be a guest. And little did we know that I would actually be a part of the One Hope family at this point. So thank you. I'm really, really excited to be here. Very happy to be here with all of you. And, there's just a million things that I could talk with all of you guys about tonight, or that we could talk together about, because I really do want this to be interactive and more of a discussion. But I feel like there's just this very unique opportunity that we have with One Hope, and that's the fact that we're an impact company. And when you think about the word influence and you think about what you can do with influence, there's probably no other company where we can exert our influence more, and that we can share the goals that we have with impact, and then also just in everything that we do, like with our customers, with our team members, with our family, with our friends. However you're going to present yourself, it's all tied in together. So tonight I really wanted to talk about the power of influence. And I've been, for those of you guys that don't know me, I love to walk. And when I go out walking or do any kind of exercise, I've always got earbuds in and I'm listening to podcasts. And I absolutely love to learn while I'm exercising my body. And I think it was about a year ago, I listened to a podcast on influence marketing. And I was so intrigued about I've been grabbing a hold of any kind of podcast, anything to talk about influence. So this is not about influence marketing tonight, but the power of influence is a part of influence marketing. And what we do in One Hope is influence marketing, because we're marketing to people and we're also influencing, right? So, it just kind of goes hand in hand. So I wanted to, again, talk to you guys tonight about this, and I hope that you find this entertaining, because what I'm going to share with you tonight are just some tidbits, things that I've learned along the way, and some of my favorite quotes, and also some of just the do's and the don'ts to influence others. So let's get started. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to share with you guys a quote by astronomer Carl Sagan. And who knew that Carl Sagan could have such an amazing quote? He says, "Who are we if not measured by our impact on others? That's who we are. We're not who we say we are. We're not who we want to be. We are the sum of the influence and impact that we have in our lives on others." That's pretty amazing. We are the sum of the influence and impact that we have in our lives on others. What do you guys think about that? Does anybody want to share if that means anything to you? I like pregnant pauses, by the way.
Don't say pregnant when you're talking to me.
Okay, yeah, because I hear you with your rice cake right now, by the way.
I'm totally eating a rice cake. Sorry, I forgot I wasn't on mute. My apologies.
Okay. Does anybody, especially, we are the sum of the influence and impact that we have in our lives on others. Does that resonate with anybody? Okay. Well, it does with me. So maybe keep going. We'll find some of you will come back to that question later. And some of you might be eating dinner. So here's a question. I really do want to get participation with this. What is influence? Can anyone share what influence means to them? Is everybody muted?
Come on, you guys.
We're friends.
Yes. Let's hear it, everybody.
Hi.
I think something about influence is inspiration.
Awesome.
Inspiration and admiration. So, part of it is like I aspire to be you, or I admire you. I admire characteristics about your style.
So what I hear you saying is that you like the model that somebody portrays, like the way that they act, the way that they are. Perfect. Well, it's like leading by example. Cool. Anybody else want to take a stab at it? What is influence? Well, I have two definitions and that I want to share with you. And the first one is that it's the ability to move a person or persons to a desired goal. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
That if you're going to influence people, it's going to be that you want them to act on something, right? And you have a goal. And so many times, we have reasons to influence people. So can somebody share how that might show up in our businesses?
Well, I would just say it's with like our team members. Like we all have to work as a team to reach certain goals. Mm-hmm. So we would want to influence them to, do what we're doing. Hopefully we're doing something good so we can all reach our goal together.
Uh-huh. I love that. I like how you classify that as when you're doing something good.
Yeah.
Do what I do, not as I say. No, do what I do and do when I'm doing good. That's great, Brittany. Thanks. I love that. Okay, so I think that's awesome. And here's another way that you could define influence. Influence is being able to affect an action. If you create, alter, inspire, or change someone's behavior, you have influenced them. So these are probably the two clearest ones that I have found that really mean, I think what I think of as influence and the opportunity that we have with influence. And I also love what someone at Laura's, I don't know who it was, said, that you inspire, if you're inspired and you admire somebody, then you want to be like them and that person will influence you. And I think that that again is something that is affected by change is affected by that, or action is affected by that. So that's cool. Okay, so one of the things that I've been doing, it seems like all my life, is studying John Maxwell. And I was so fortunate last year, I got to become a certified John Maxwell trainer, speaker, coach. And nothing really changed for me because I still felt exactly, the same, except that now I have a little bit more knowledge. I feel a little more authentic, and I feel a little closer to the whole influence of John Maxwell too. But it's not the end all to be all. He is very, very, he's amazing when it comes to leadership. He's amazing when it comes to everyday life. And I love what I've learned from him. He has the 21 irrefutable laws that many people know about, or the 21 laws of leadership. And the second law is the law of influence. And his law of influence says the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So why do you think he says this?
So as leaders, our job is to influence our teams in a positive manner. And that's all we can do. And that's all we can do in our daily businesses. And that's all we can do in our leadership responsibilities is, we cannot make people do anything. We can't even really, in my opinion, we can't motivate people. People motivation comes from within, and so the only tool that we have is influence, and that looks like behaving in such a way that others, exactly like what was said earlier, that others want to emulate your actions. And that's what influence is, whether you're selling wine or you're leading a team or anything like that. So that's what I would say.
I love it, Lori. That's great. Does anyone else have anything else or any other thoughts about this? Okay. Well, as Lori said, the law of influence is about the fact that, or the leadership is influence because of working. You're trying to help them succeed. So everything you do as a leader is influencing others. Here's another definition. The law of influence your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. So think about that. Think about the opportunity that you have with other people and how, and I love the word abundant because I think that, it's ongoing. It's so full. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. So you have this opportunity to not only influence people, but to really elevate people, to lift them up. So I love that when you put other people's interests first, that's really the key to leading people through your influence. It's making sure that you're making it all about them. Okay? So where do you use it? Now, I heard it said, I think it might have been Brittany maybe, talked about with your team, right? So in your business, influence is key. Of course, your customers will make spending decisions to purchase your product and services, your team members to follow your example, and then also in your social relationships, your influence has many benefits that could help to further your professional career. So keep that in mind that you want to keep meeting and how influence can come to play in many different ways. I have a He says, you go into business to move the world forward, to create value, share what you know, what you have, and what you've been given. And I really think that that's what it's that you have something of want to pour value into other people. And it's that pouring of that those things I told you I'd share with you, things that I found along the way. So let's talk about how to influence others. And first and foremost, you want to be likable. Okay, so let's go through the list of ways that you can be likable. The first way is to place other people first. If you invest in people and you take action with them, you can make deposits into their emotional bank account. So what does that mean? That means that you're spending time with them. Or find out you can be genuine and make an effort. That's going to make a difference with people. And then telling people that you believe in them is a huge opportunity. I think this is something that as a leader, it really makes a difference. But even as a peer, if you guys have peers and you want to help people see the benefits of something, you can, bring them along and tell them why you're excited I think a really cool maybe they don't really feel very comfortable with themselves, or maybe they're stepping out that you're super excited and it's more like Brittany. We're always comparing ourselves to others. The thing is that we're all very interesting. But the way that we become the most interesting is when we become interested in other people. So to do that, you want to learn how to ask questions and really listen to people. And this is where your authenticity can come through when you're feeling genuinely interested in someone. It's a super cool thing to all of a sudden you are more attractive because you're showing your interest in other people, and because this validates that person. So if you're ever wondering, how do I get someone to say yes to me, whether it's a customer or a host, it's especially when you add someone to your team for the first time and you're getting to know them, you have an opportunity to learn about not only about who they are as a person, but more about their family, more about the things that really make them happy, whether it's pets, whether it's special activities that they have. Having that opportunity to get to know them a little bit outside of One Hope, outside of being One Hope, making sure that you let them know that you're interested in who they are beyond this. The next one is to practice the platinum rule of relationships. Now, we all know about the golden rule of relationships, right? The golden rule is to treat others as you want to be treated. But the platinum rule is to treat other people the way they want to be treated. So have you guys ever heard of this before? Anybody? Yeah? Okay. Tammy says yes. Well, this is so important. What are the things that are going to, it's like you talk about the 5 love languages, right? Like how what other people want, what they want, and treat them well. And this moved to New York City and I had someone tell me, Chris, you can't smile like that. You're going to get in trouble if you're smiling. Initiative to set the tone with kindness and positivity. So that's something that you guys can do all the time. Make it second nature and always have good interactions with people. It's just about being kind. It's about making a choice. It's about, if you're having a bad day, to turn that frown, which is easier. It's actually easier facially to frown than it is to smile. But it's really making that conscious effort so that you can be someone who's likable. You're going to influence more people that way, in a good way. And gracious, of course, one of our favorites, and that's to communicate with tact and empathy to people, to let yourself feel what the other person is feeling. And of course, to practice gratitude, which is really the secret to amazing success. And what is it that we say? Entitled to nothing and grateful for everything. Maybe I've got that backwards, grateful for everything, entitled to nothing. And I think that so many of us in this company do practice gratitude. And finally, trust. And this is very interesting. Trust is letting go of needing to be right. That's like when you're in a relationship with somebody and you think, wow, I just have to, I really feel like I'm right about this, like I just really feel like this person's wrong, or I feel like I'm going to push this person to come, and I'm not going to even listen to what they have. It could be an objection that you hear. It could be, like if you're inviting somebody to join the business, if you're asking someone to participate, if you're having if you're trying to get people to come over, if you're just inviting them to something, a lot of times we're trying to convince them, but maybe we need to take a step back and be open to other ideas and other solutions, and know that that's going to be something that's going to probably bridge the relationship so much more. And of course, it's all about creating the collaboration and knowing that as a team, that you can do so much more together. It's not just you alone. And of course, communication. And I think this is really with people, and that you're letting them know what's going on. Those are the things that can build trust. And I have one more, and that's connect. Because, to be likable, you have to connect with people. You can connect through try to do things that other people can't do, because they're just going to say, I can't be like you, or they're going to compare themselves. So make sure that you're always sharing things, ways that you can be relatable, and watch what you're doing, especially if you have a team and you want people to model your behavior, and make the person feel as if they're the only one in the room. So if you're having a conversation with somebody, make sure that they see your eye contact and that they feel important. And we're in a relationship business. And so in this business, it's all about building. We have a certain quota that we want to sell. And there to sell. But really, we're here to build relationships with people, because we're here to impact. So the more relationships that we build, the better the impact. And then, so the rule of thumb is that spend 80% of your time building the relationship with somebody, and only 20% of the time marketing to them. So let's talk about what not to do. This should probably put us up. Don't want to gossip. What is it time that happens? Gossiping is what you think. Conversations lose their color. So enough to talk about, and they feel like they just need to talk about who they know, and why they're so great. And I think so many times, you just don't even really you don't really share what it is that is important about what you think. This one, whip out your phone. It is such a turnoff. Wouldn't you agree? When you are talking to somebody, and all of a sudden they pull out their phone and they're checking their text messages, and you're like, wait a second. At dinner, why do they have to have their phone out? Or why is it that like if you're at a meeting or a training and you see people pull out their phones, that means that something's more important than you are. And so this is a really important thing. So be careful about this, about not whipping out your phone. And people that have closed minds, if you want to be likable, you need to keep your mind open, because it makes you more approachable and interesting to others. And no one wants a conversation with someone who has already formed an opinion and is unwilling to listen. And the inevitable being too serious. When I was in high school, I'll never forget, to this day, it's been several years since I've been out of high school, but I'll never forget when I wasn't asked to the prom by the guy that I wanted to ask me to the prom. He told somebody I was too serious. And I thought, wow, what does that mean? And what it means is that sometimes you can be so focused on things that you don't appear to be someone that has fun. So if you're so focused and so serious sometimes about your business, about different things, and you're not really showing yourself as a well-rounded person, then this is where people will think that your work is more important than anything else. And this is like when you see someone in the grocery store and they want to run away from you because all you ever want to do is talk about your business, right? So that's not a way that you want to influence people. You don't want to be too serious. You definitely want to be fun-loving. You want to be well-rounded and have a lot of activities in your life. So another quote that I really love is from sales guru Lisa Sasevich. And she says, in today's world, people are looking to be inspired, encouraged, taught, and heard. It's no longer about simply selling. It's about becoming a trusted advisor. You're now learning to influence, and that, my friend, is where you begin to make the biggest impact and attract dedicated, highly committed, and highly invested clients. I really love that. So, does anybody, what do you think be pulley means? I'd love to hear someone tell me what they think this means.
Oh, I'll chime in.
Hi, Louise.
Being pull-y, I would think means, as opposed to pushing someone to do something, pulling them into their own confidence to do it for themselves.
I love it. Well, you get a gold star. Well, that's so, it's so true. I love how you said that too. Pulling them into doing something, to really build their confidence, or for them to be confident. Because so many times we hear people say, I don't want to be pushy. And so pushy is just such a negative thing. Pushing is something that managers do, and pulling is something that leaders do. So managers push and leaders pull. And this is so important because we have this opportunity to all the time, I know you guys are probably thinking, you might be on here and say, I'm not even a leader right now. If you think you're not a leader, you are. If you're in One Hope and you're building an impact, you are a leader. And so you do have an opportunity to pull people with you. This is what impact is all about. This is what influence is all about. You don't want to push anybody because it's just too hard. But leaders, true leaders, aren't pushy, they're pulley. They're going to bring people with them. They're going to bring people into the situation, and they're going to show them everything that's possible. So Louise had a probably the best definition of it. So right there you can see the difference between a manager who pushes and a leader who pulls. And finally, I want to end, and then we'll open up for discussion and questions and everything, with a story. When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. I found it was difficult to change the world, so I tried to change my nation. When I found I couldn't change the nation, I began to focus on my town. I couldn't change the town, and as an older man, I tried to change my family. Now, as an old man, I realized the only thing I can change is myself. And suddenly I realized that if long ago I had changed myself, I could have made an impact on my family. My family and I could have made an impact on our town, and their impact could have changed the nation, and I could indeed have changed the world. So this was something that was written by an unknown monk around 1100 AD. So I really love this because I think it shows that change happens with us. But we don't go out there and try to change the world right away. We do it one person at a time. We use our influence that's closest to us, and then it goes out as a ripple effect. So that really is the opportunity that we all have here with Via One Hope, and the impact that we are making, and the opportunity that we have to influence people either positively or negatively in any part of your business and in any part of your life. So, so that's what I have to share with you guys tonight, and I would love to hear what your thoughts are on influence. So, Lori, can we open things up for Q&A?
Absolutely. I have not muted everybody, so folks who want to chat are welcome to chat as you see fit. Yeah. I thought this was awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. I loved it. I thought it was so great. I just do feel like we are in such a great position to influence people. And I love that last quote about just little baby steps and the ripple effect and how that grows. So anybody that wants to share, just unmute yourselves and share.
Pink eye over here. So I want to kind of reiterate basically what Lori was saying too, is that it's really just nice to hear. It's refreshing to hear from your perspective, just in terms of like what we should be doing. I think for me personally, this is like something that's always been one of those things I kind of put in personal development and I still struggle at. So it's nice to kind of always get that reinforcement of just making sure it's, we're getting the message across properly and leading as opposed to managing.
Right.
Great, Louise. Yep.
Absolutely.
May I?
Hi.
Hey.
Carla?
Carla.
Carla, that's you, Carla.
It is me. Been working all day on furnaces, so forgive my presence. I want to talk a little bit about the pulley. At what point, I'll give you an analogy. To me, when you're pulling somebody, you're on land, and you've got a rope around them, and you're pulling them, and you're both on the same ground. But then if you change the situation, and you're in the water, that person's pulling you down and pulling you under. At what point, when you either have to let go or you drown. At what point do you, everything that you said tonight has been fantastic, and thank you for this. And I have, I've got 5 people on my team, and I have done just about everything that you've said tonight, and I've been leading and I've been pulling, and everybody's got a mission or they have something else that they're doing. And you know what? I just finally got to the point, I didn't ask them to sign. Every one of them, they all came to me. They saw my excitement and they came to me. But I don't know if they got to a point that they felt that I'm just struggling here because, I'm just to the point where, you know what? I'm going on doing my sales. I'm almost at 2,000, and my whole other team, nobody has $1 this month. So, it's that point of, am I picking the wrong people, or am I just signing anybody? Or at what point do you, I think the education process is also, for me, is, I really didn't just sign somebody and say, hey, yeah, sure. But it's finding somebody that maybe has as much gumption as me. That's something I haven't obviously been able to, I'm not good at yet. That's something I need to hone in on. So I'm not going to,
do you want to take this, or do you?
I can, but it sounds like
you and I are going to say the same thing, basically.
Probably.
And by the way, so you guys know that I have a long history with Chris, and she's been a huge mentor for me and really, really, really helped me over the years. But Carla, I think, the truth of the matter is we're never going to turn anybody away. We are going to invite everyone to join us, but not everyone will have the same passion and excitement that we have. And that's just the truth. And so they're sort of like, without sounding like a jerk, the truth of the matter is it's kind of a numbers game, and you want to open the door for as many people as you can. But something that you may have heard me say, and that I will say 100,000 more times, is if you can't change your team, change your team. You cannot, I don't think what Chris is saying, being pulley, is not about dragging people. It's about pulling people into your sphere of excitement and influence, which is what she's talking about, and keeping that going. It doesn't always keep going. It's just not, it's not the same for everyone. And so that's where you just keep the door open and you keep bringing people in and you keep bringing people in, because the reality is it's just not the same for everyone. You have a very clear passion about this business. You have a clear passion for our give back and what we do, but not everybody does. And people join for lots of different reasons. And so if you can't change your team, change your team. Chris, hit it.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that the pull that you're talking about, where somebody's pulling you under the water, those are energy vampires. Those are the people who are going to just try to suck everything they have from you, Carla. And that's not what you're here to do. You're here, you are on a mission, you're moving forward. And another, just something I always like to use as an analogy or as a picture of an example of what is happening is that the mission that you're on, think of it as a train, okay? You're on a train and it's a fast-moving train. And your train isn't going to stop. It might slow down a little bit so that some people can get on, but you're not going to stop. So they have a choice. They can get on the train and go with you. And that's the force that you're pulling, okay? It's like this power of intention. You all get into this tunnel. And so you and your positivity, you and your, your happiness, your expression, your excitement, like Lori was talking about, that's what's going to pull the people and attract the people to you. So one of the things that we say is bring on 1 or 2 people every single month. I know for some people that might sound like a lot, but what it's going to do is it's always going to bring that freshness into your business. It's always going to bring those people that are going to want this because they want it in the beginning. If somebody's not getting started, it's probably a matter of have you been able to get to know them on their level yet? Okay. Because there is an opportunity to get to know everybody unless they won't pick up their phone or answer, a text or something. Then you just know that they're in it for other reasons that are not the same as yours. And that gives you permission to just keep on going and keep looking. And you can slow down whenever you want to invite somebody on, but you don't need to stop. Okay?
And I'm not stopping. I've just been, I joined this business. I had this energy. And people jumped on, and I'm not feeling like I'm drained by vampires or being sucked, but I just feel like I just can't get them to move.
And that's okay. And they're not ready to move, and that's okay. And be respectful of that.
Oh, I am.
But I'm saying, like, that's, give them a hug and let them go. Don't spend your energy there when you can take your vibrant self and put it out elsewhere where it's going to be more effective, where you're going to have a bigger influence on other people, right? Because it's easy, honestly, I feel like it's easy to get stuck in that place where you're trying to pull something out of somebody that honestly just isn't there. And so you have to know when the time is right to give them a big fat kiss and a hug and say, bye, I'm moving on to the next thing. And you know what? Here's my number and here's my email, and you come to me when you're ready. Boom. That's it. That's just a big part. I mean, Chris, do you agree? Like, I feel like that's a big part of what we do.
Sure it is. The other thing to keep in mind is that every day we have opportunities to impact people and to influence people that are brand new in our lives. And so if we continuously do that, then those people who really want to be a part of this, that, when the time's right for them, they're going to notice, they're going to come back, they're going to touch base with you. But not everybody's going to want to be working at the same pace. Not everybody's going to be in this at the same time. And that's okay. It's a volunteer army that we have. And what you can do is do what whoever it is at Laura's team, I still don't know because she was way back in the corner, said, inspire and make you admire, right? So Yay! What is your name so I can address you properly?
Chris.
Hi. Your name is Chris too?
Alyssa.
Alyssa. Hi.
Alyssa Harland.
Hi, Alyssa. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, because I keep referring to what you said about inspiration and having someone that inspires you and admire that you admire. So I'm glad I can say Alyssa now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Carla, thank you so much for sharing that and, for going to a place of vulnerability with that too.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Brittany, who is this?
Ooh,
Girl.
that's my baby girl.
This is Brielle. You say hi?
Look, he left.
Hi,
Hi,
Bee.
Brielle. You're so pretty.
Look,
She was in
That.
Somebody's playing in the pool.
that's Lily.
Oh.
I just liked that you, like in the beginning, you're like, how to be likable or whatever.
That's
And like
Lily.
sometimes you have like a negative thought of like, oh, I need everyone to like me, or like, back even to like high school, you try to be liked by like different ways, but your ways are like positive where you're focusing on others. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, because so many times we're always worried about how people are going to be thinking about us and what their impression is of us. But most
Look, that's Lily.
people aren't thinking about us, when we're worried about that. And that's why it's so important that, if you're truly interested in other people, then that's what's going to shine through. And if you do those other things, the smile, anything that's going to boomerang, that will be something that will come back. That's what it's all about. And have the confidence and not feel like you need to compare yourself to other people too, that you think have it all going on, because we all have it all going on.
And I want to just piggyback on that and say, I think that we are in the most incredible space to really truly be authentic, because I think each of us, like I look at this board and I see who's here and I know their hearts, and every single one of us is here for a really truly authentic reason. And I think this business, above any other that certainly I've ever been involved in, you get to actually be yourself. You get to actually be authentic and share your heart and your feelings. And that's what works. That's what makes it all work. So, I just think that's so cool, And like I said, knowing all of these people and knowing their hearts and knowing why they're here, like you don't get that in other places. So to me, it's super cool.
No, you don't. We're so lucky. I've been in this industry for 24 years. And when I started because I wanted to get a discount on toys. And the thing is that I got hooked, and I was hooked because, first of all, I thought if you were going to be successful in this business, you had to be weird. And so I went to, I thought successful people, they do things I'm not going to do. There's just no way. And then I went to a convention. And while I was at that convention, I looked around and I'm like, these people are just like me. They're just willing to do things I'm not willing to do. And I was so worried about who I was and how I was coming across, and I was keeping myself to myself. I was keeping my business to myself. And the only reason why I went to the convention was because my husband basically pushed me out the door. I'd like to say he pulled me out the door, but he pushed me out because I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do what he was suggesting. But what I found there was a force that was pulling me in, and it was really, really positive. And I realized at that point that this is an industry where we can grow so much and that we have so many opportunities. And so I love being a part of this. I love that One Hope chose to enter the direct selling space, because what we're doing is we're kind of flipping it on its head and we're changing it, because we're becoming more about the impact and influence, and less about the gimmies, the things that we need to have. I mean, of course, we're fulfilling ourselves internally for what we need to have in our lives too, but it's all about the other person. And so that's why that first quote was so meaningful to me, because it was the true marriage between impact and influence, and how that's who we are. That's the force that we are. That's the power of it, is that impact and influence comes together. And that's what makes, I think, what we do here with One Hope so special. And we have so many lives to be able to change, through our causes, but really with all the people that we can touch every single day. And I just hope that you guys, I hope that you got some little nuggets out of this, and that this is something that, you can have some takeaways from. And yeah, so, and we can always talk about it. There's just so many things to talk about. You have no idea the notes I have and the things that I have in my head. Today's been a day where I think 3 or 4 times I've said I've never had my thoughts split like in 4 different places, because I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, and I'm doing that, because we officially launched Crush at the home office yesterday, and we are like all heads down into Crush mode. And when we are putting together Crush for you guys, let me tell you, it's just craziness, but it's so much fun. And we're thrilled about it. We hope that all of you guys are going to be with us at Crush, because you're just going to be blown away. Yeah. Yay.
Yay. Yeah, I just, I'm always struck. Thank you so much, Chris. I loved this call, and I am just so about the our ability. If you think about why everybody was drawn into this business, they were pulled in. They were pulled in because of the mission, because of their personal beliefs or their personal mission or whatever. I don't know. I just think we are so incredibly lucky and blessed to be where we are. And I just love this whole topic of, we are all influencers, and we are influencers of our customers, of our teams, of our families, of our neighbors, all of those things. So I love that this is a vehicle, and that we get to share our own personal passion and our own personal desires. So anyway, that's what I'm going to say about that. So thank you so much, Chris. This was a great call. You're awesome. I love you. You're just and I love all of you guys so much. Thank you so much for coming on, and
thank you for doing this.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? It's super awesome.
Well, thanks for having me, you guys. And I look forward to connecting with you at Crush, if not before, on one of our calls, Wednesday, Thursday calls. Yes. And just so happy to be a part of this family with all of you.
Feels good, don't it?
Yeah, it does.
All right, you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking your time tonight to be on the call. I'm going to stop the recording.